start recording. Okay. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to sort the data so that you can take out the outliers and also the data that is incorrectly input. So you can, kind of go through and clean all that information up. And in Excel, what you do is you go to the data tab up at the top. Did you guys see how it changed the ribbon right here? Okay, so watch the ribbon. This is what's called the ribbon. I want to make sure that it's changing so you guys can see what I'm doing. See how the ribbon is changing when I'm clicking the different things? Yeah. Okay, so you want to go to data and then sort. Okay, when it highlights everything like this, that means it's looking at all the data that you have, and it'll allow you to sort by whatever the values are in a particular column. So let's say, for example, I want to sort by price per square foot, which is column J over here. So I'm going to sort by sale price per square foot, smallest to largest. Now kind of watch this whole, the data real quick. I'm going to click OK and watch the data. See, it all changed. And so now all of this data is sorted by sale price per square foot. Okay, everybody follow along there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, okay, all right. So now you can see things really start to kind of start at around 240-ish. We got a 209, 198, 167, 178. These ones are kind of outliers. For whatever reason, they're below what everything kind of starts at. So I think I'm going to take out, you click over on the 5 and click up to the 2 and select these because I want to get rid of these. I want to take these outliers out. So I'm going to right click and just click delete. And that takes them out of there. Now I'm also going to go down to the bottom. Now we have some where the price per square foot didn't come out. And again, this is being recorded, so you guys can go back and you can go over this real quickly and follow along. Here we go, step by step to see how to do some of these things. So here, when there's no data in there, I'm going to put my own formula in there, and the formula to find the square footage or the price per square foot, because again, that's what column J represents, is you take the sale price, column I is the sale price, the square footage is column O, so you divide column I by column O, and that formula is let's see, I 2518. So you take the actual cell that you want to divide, which is column I and row 2518. So I 2518 divided by column O, which is the square footage and the same row. So O 2518. Oops. Why didn't that turn out right? I 2518 divided by O 2518. Okay, why is that not turning out correctly? Or if I have this.
You're not putting don't you have to put a colon in first on a formula?
No, you could do, maybe I'm missing the equal sign. Equals I 2518 divided by O 2518. That was it. So you have to put the equal sign in there. That tells Microsoft Excel that it's a function. So it gives me $656.82. I'm going to right click on there, click format cells, and I'm going to remove the decimal places. I'm going to change that. Notice we're on currency. Okay. And I'm going to change it to 0, and you can see the sample is correct and click OK. Now, with Excel, when you have a box highlighted, a cell highlighted like this, you see a little square in the lower right-hand side. You can grab that lower square. So put your cursor right on that lower square, hit the left mouse button, and drag it down. And what it'll do is it's going to apply that formula to all of those cells. So now what I just did is I just gave myself this blank data. I just filled in the blank data. Okay, so you got to do that. Now, this column is still sorted up to here. And I would say we kind of top out at probably 16-ish. So I'm going to get rid of my outliers. These are my outliers that for whatever reason, they just sold for a ton per square foot, because I'm not wanting the outliers to affect my trends. So I'm going to right click on those. I'm going to highlight them, right click, and delete. Okay. I don't have to worry about sorting any of these, because they're all within the meat of what my results were. So that's how you get rid of the outliers. I also like to do, let's see, let me scoot over just a little bit. Combine days on market. So combine days on market, again, we click sort, expand the selection. We're going to change this to combine days on market. We're going to go smallest to largest. Out here, 0 days on market is legitimate. It just means that something hit the market and was sold immediately. But I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom of that column. And I've got a couple that are really outside the norm here too. So the last two, I'm going to get rid of those. Okay. All right. So now my data, those are really the only two things that I want to clean up. Now my data is cleaned up. And there's two different things that you can do, a couple different chart types that you can make. One is just a very simple dot matrix chart, and that's super easy to do. All you do is look at your closing date, click that, and your price per square foot or your sale price, whatever you're trying to figure out, and click both of those, highlight both of those, and click insert, and this little scatter chart right here. And you want to select it, drop down the little menu here, and select that scatter chart there. Okay, so now you have a bunch of data in a chart. And what this data represents is I've got, I don't know, 3,000 or so sales here. And what this represents is each individual blue dot is a sale price per square foot over time. So let me stretch this out a little bit so we can see the dates a little bit better. All right, so you can see the dates down here, the price per square foot here. You can see I don't have any outliers that are like way up here or crazy way down here. So my data looks really good. The only thing that I need to do now is to add a trend line. And to do that, you select one of the dots, you right click, and you add a trend line. Okay, you can't see the trend line in there because it's blue. You can see just a little bit of it right there, but it's blue. And you want to change it. Now, once you do that, you can format the trend line so that you can actually see it and so that it's giving you the actual trends that you want. We're going to change the color to red. Okay. And we're going to make the line bigger. I usually go to 3. And instead of a dot type, we're going to make a solid line. Okay, so see the solid line now? You guys got that? All right, so that's a linear, that's just a linear trend line, which if you have enough data, can be accurate. But it just depends on what your time horizon is. If you guys take any classes from George Dell, has anybody heard George Dell? You know George Dell?
No.
Yeah, he's awesome. I've taken some of his classes. I serve on a couple of boards with on a committee with him, and he is all about statistics, graphs, and data. This is all. This is. I don't even know if the guy. I don't think he appraises anymore. He just does these classes throughout the country. And if you ever have a chance to take one of his classes, I will send you data on his classes. Take his classes because he is really, really good. And what he always wants us to do is use the polynomial trend line. So after you make your trend line, you just change it to polynomial to the third order. And what that does is it's just measuring. You might see how the line changed just a little bit. It curved just a little bit. What that does is it takes into consideration what the trends are within what they call three orders prior and after the points on the trend line. It's kind of gobbledygook right now. Just make sure it's polynomial in three. You can also add another one. I do this sometimes because sometimes lenders don't really understand these things and they just understand straight lines. So I do it again. Right click on the dots, add a trend line, and it automatically does a linear trend line. We change the color to red and make it wider. I make it 3 points and change it to a straight line or a filled in line. Now you can see there's a straight line there and there's a little bit of a curve there. Okay. So what this information is telling us is from over the past year in Oakland, in general, property values have declined quite a bit. The polynomial is a little more accurate and a little more current, and it shows that property values are starting to change a little bit, which here in the spring, that's what I would expect. Property values are starting to go up a little bit. This right here can be the basis for making time adjustments. You want to change what the chart title is. So sale price per square foot trend for SFRs in Oakland. Whoops. Okay, so that gives the reader a little more information. And then you can just take this, click in anywhere in the kind of the frame of this chart, click it, and then Control C to copy and Control V to paste right into your report. I generally put a blank 4x6 photo page in my reports, and that's where I put my charts. So when you're making time adjustments to your comparables, let's say you have a comp from, right about that went into contract around September 1st. This is right about September 1st. And it looks like that's probably about, I don't know, probably about 725, 750-ish right there. You can change the scale over here to put more lines in, or you can actually zoom in. So let's try that. So if you select the scale, right click and format axis, you can change the minimums and maximums. So let's go from 200, let's go from 300 to 1400. Okay, see how the scale is more pronounced now. The scale is smaller, so it's a little more pronounced here and a little easier to see. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, and you could copy and paste this into your reports and use this as a basis for making your time adjustments, or you can just have it in your work file and use this to make your time adjustments. So again, if you have a sale that, let's say, sold around went into contract around October 1st, that's about right here. That's right about 700, and currently we're just getting close to 700. Maybe you might want to make a small time adjustment, but it looks like property values based on the polynomial line here are coming back. They're starting to increase again, and they're maybe right about where they were back in October. So maybe you won't make a time adjustment, or maybe if you have a sale down here at the bottom, let's say right at the end of the year, a property went into contract at the end of the year, when things look like they're around, I don't know, six and a half, something like that, 650, and now we're at 700. Well, maybe you want to make a 5%, 8% positive time adjustment. But again, this lets you do that, lets you calculate it, and it's a really simple, easy way. Now, this is for all of Oakland, so you can do your own neighborhoods, like you were saying, John. You can do Eastmont or whatever your particular neighborhood is. And the same goes in Florida, and the same goes. I'm sorry, Jeff, where are you at?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. So
sorry,
you do
Nashville.
Okay, Nashville. So you could do the same for different neighborhoods there. You don't have to do the entire city. I just happened to use the entire city on this one as an example. Now that's one type of chart, and I'm going to show you a new type of chart, a different type of chart that works just a little bit differently. And to create that type of chart, we're going to do what's called a pivot table. And a pivot table is a way of organizing data and making charts in a very structured sort of way. So all you would do is click on the A1 cell in your data set. You can leave this chart here. You don't have to do anything with it. You can put it in your report, put it in your work file. When you change the type of charts we're going to make, this one's going to stay right there, and we don't need to see the data, so it could just sit right there. But you're going to hit Control A to select all of your data, and then you're going to hit Control T to make a table. See how it says create table here? We're going to create a table. You don't need to change any of this stuff in here, and just click OK. All right, see how the data has changed now so that we have nice headers. Everything is very structured. Everything is very organized. It's easy for Excel to work with data like this. And then the process is similar to start off with from the first chart that we made. We're going to go to Insert, but we're going to select Pivot Table, Pivot Chart. Select Pivot Chart and Pivot Chart, and you don't have to worry about changing any of this stuff. We're going to put it on a new worksheet, and it's already got the table selected, and just click OK. All right, so you can see down at the bottom here, a new sheet has been added, and it's blank, and it's got a few different things on here, but it's got these pivot chart fields over on the side. That's the important thing. So we want to click close date and sale price per square foot. Notice that it's columns. That's a little bit different than what we had before. So this is going to take sale price per square foot by closing date and show it in columns. Over here is the summary of the data that you have selected, and we want to change a couple things over here. So right here on column B, it says sum of sale price per square foot. Well, that's not what we want. Sum means everything added up. What we want, you want to double click on B1 here. You want to double click, and it gives us all these different ways to analyze our data. It defaults to sum. We actually want average, because we want an average of the sale price per square feet. Unfortunately, it doesn't do medians without doing all kinds of programming and all kinds of other things. So don't look for that. Average is good enough as long as you have enough data and your data is consistent and you're applying it consistently. So average of square foot, we want to change our number format to currency, and we don't need any decimal places. And then click OK and OK. All right, see how that changed a little bit? So now this is giving us the average of sale price per square foot in these columns here. Now it summarizes 2022 and 2023. To start breaking it up, all you have to do is change, click on this little plus sign right here. Excel already knows that you want to go by quarter and then by individual month. So you just keep clicking these and it creates a chart by month. So now we're starting to see something here. Now we're starting to come together. And interestingly, if we were to kind of draw a line right at the top of these, that's pretty much the same shape as that polynomial line, that trend line that we had earlier. Now we just need to clean this up a little bit. We really don't need this legend over here, so you can just select it and get rid of it. These labels right here, you can leave them on there. I take them off just because it cleans up the chart a little bit better. And I'm going to have a label on it anyways. So you just right click on it and hide all the field buttons on the chart. Okay. So we're starting to come together. You guys can see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Let's change the title to average sale price per square foot trend in Oakland. You can put anything you want, whatever's going to explain it to the client the best. And then you want to change the scale over on this side. So select it and then right click and format axis. I think we probably want somewhere around, I don't know, 400, 450, 500 would be fine for the bottom. So let's put 450. There. And now you can see it's a little more pronounced and it's a little easier to look at. And again, as appraisers, we can look at this and go, okay, well, property values they peaked in May or April, peaked in April. They've been declining ever since into January, and now they've started to take off. And that's easy for us to look at because we know how to read these things. It's not so easy for other people to understand these things. So you can, again, here, select one of the columns, left click on one of the columns, and then right click on it and add a trend line. Okay, that's the linear trend line that Excel defaults to, and we're going to change it to polynomial to the third order, and see how it just kind of follows the tops there, but just kind of rounds it, for lack of a better term, rounds it a little bit better. We're going to hit the paint bucket and we're going to paint it red. We're going to change the width to something bigger so we can see it. And we're going to change the dash type to solid. All right. Now we have something we can really use in our data. We have something that's a great visual representation of what the trends are for price per square foot in Oakland. And this is very accurate. This is something that we can use to make our time adjustments with. Right here is where we're at today. So that's what we're going to make our adjustments to. And if you have a comp from, let's say, that went into contract April, May, or June, even July, you can just calculate that this is about 750 and we're at about 675. That's an easy calculation. 675 divided by 750. That's your time adjustment for that comp. Okay. Make sense? Everybody following along?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You said for that comp or for the comps?
For the individual comparable. Okay. So I might have one comp that sold in May. I might have one that sold in September, September or October. Again, that went into contract in September or October, which is where we're at right now. So I'm not going to make an adjustment there, but I also might have a comp that went into contract in January. Maybe I'll make a positive adjustment. So, it's totally plausible for 3 sales in a report. I might have one that sold in June that has a negative adjustment, one that sold in October or November, that went into contract in October or November that doesn't have a time adjustment, and one that went into contract in January that has a positive adjustment. So, but these are the things that you can explain in your report. You can state that market conditions adjustments are made to the comparables based on the chart attached to this report. And then you click on this, copy it, paste it into your report, and you've got your market conditions explained. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So let's try a different piece of data real quick. Something maybe that's going to, and this will be the last thing that we do because I know this is a lot. We're going to do something here that will, Bear with me for a second because I got to be able to see my dashboard. There we go. Move that back. Can you guys still see the data? Okay.
Yeah.
I had to move this around. So now I'm going to go back to the beginning and I'm going to go to insert and I'm going to do a pivot chart. I'm going to select pivot chart and I'm going to create a new pivot chart on a new sheet. But this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to select close date and let's do combined days on market. Okay. A little bit different type of data. So the process is still the same. It says sum of combined days on market. That's not what we want. We want the average. The format in this case is not currency, but it's a number. And we don't need any decimal places. There. And now again, you can see we've got kind of the basis for our chart starting. Click the little the little plus signs on the left, and it keeps adding the charts per month. And again, now we've got some good data. Now this is a little bit inverse indicator of what's going on in a market as compared to price per square foot. But let's start, but you can start to see what's going on here. Let's clean this up a little bit. We're going to remove the legend. We're going to hide the field buttons. And we're going to change this to average days on market or SFRs in Oakland. Okay. Now this information, this is powerful information to be able to put in your report, because we can tell the client, look, property demand peaked because days on market is a function of demand. Demand peaked last spring with the lowest days on market average. It got up to in January where demand was the lowest. Remember on this other chart, for prices, January was the low. So the lowest demand was in January, and now demand has been increasing by days on market declining. And we can do the same thing. Just select these columns, just one of the columns, right click on them, add a trend line. We're going to make it polynomial to the third order. We're going to paint it red. We're going to increase the width, and we're going to change the dash type. Okay, now all of a sudden right there, you have some really good information about demand in your market. Okay, let's do one more. Let's see. Okay, so back to the dashboard. And here we go. Insert, pivot chart. Okay. Creates the new sheet. This one is going to be a little different. It show another piece of information. We're going to go close date and sold price. We did price per square foot. We'll do sold price here. Doesn't matter what you could do. You could do this with sold price or price per square foot or combined days of market or any indicator. But instead of sum, we don't want the sum of the sold prices. We're going to double click on it, left click, double click on it. We're going to do count. So we're going to do the count of sold price. How many sales each time? So we're going to, the number format, we want a number. We don't need any decimal places. Okay, and so we will expand each one of these. Okay, again, very powerful information starting to come through. We'll get rid of the legend. We will hide the field buttons, and we will change this to, whoops, number of sales per month in Oakland. Number of sales per month. Again, this shows exactly what the other charts were showing. The number of sales, demand peaked last spring. It declined all the way into January, and demand has been increasing. Market's gotten a lot busier. I mean, from less than 100 to 150. You know, that's a huge, huge increase in demand. We're going to left click on one of the columns to select all of them. We're going to right click and add a trend line. It's a polynomial to the third degree. We're going to paint it. We're going to paint it red. We're going to change the width, and we're going to change the dash type. There. Now you've explained visually that demand was really high with the number of sales in the spring. It's been declining ever since, but now we're heading back into the spring of 2023, and demand has turned the corner and has increased significantly. And that's the commentary that you can put in your sales comparison approach. You can also put it in your market data, neighborhood market conditions section. And you could take all three of these, by selecting them, Control C, and then pasting them into a blank 4x6 photo page. And now you have three different charts that show what's going on in a neighborhood and that will help you make your time adjustments more accurate. Does that all make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to, one quick thing before I stop the recording. When you save these, once you put a chart on here, you have to save it as a different type of file. So when you go file, when you put it in your work file, you go to file, save as, and you have to switch the file type from CSV to Excel workbook XLSX. Okay. That's what you have to do to save it. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your charts when you open it the next time. Okay. Now you can do some things like, if you do most of your work, let's say in Nashville, you can make one of these for Nashville, and then just keep adding data to it and keep it going on a monthly basis. Every month you can change things. You could do that for any place. Ryan Lundquist, I told you about him yesterday. He does that. Again, this is very, very powerful information. We're going to, as a company, start requiring this type of information to be in reports. So I want to make sure that you guys go through this, listen to this recording, use it. I will post it somewhere where you guys can find it, and I'll send you a link. And then you guys can just go through it as many times as you want. And I'll send you another link also that has another version of me doing this.